guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey. If not, hey girl, hey boy, hey, welcome back. It's your girl Shay. So y'all, we're gonna do a little chit chat. Get ready with me. I have my mirror sitting right here, and also have there's a couple of comments that I kind of want to respond to. I kind of responded to them like individually, but I wanted to, like, this is really good information. I feel like that would be good for all over general information. So we are going to talk about it. There's actually two really good comments I want to talk about. But before we start, I hope you guys are having a great new year. This video is actually being recorded after the new year. Any video before this was pre-recorded, so it wasn't out new year yet, but now it is, and I hope you guys had a great, safe new year. You guys didn't get touched by the Omarion, and y'all just stay safe. So let's go into it. The makeup, we're not really going to be doing anything different. I do have new products I'm going to try, but y'all know I do the same thing. I do the same thing all the time, so it's nothing to worry about. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to get into the topics, really. So one of the questions that I have that I kind of want to go ahead and talk about, it says, advice to your younger self, things you've learned and tips you would give your younger self. So for those who don't know, my birthday just passed, and I am now the great age of 29. Don't feel any different than being 28. Oops. But there's probably a few things, there's more than a few things really, that I would like to really tell myself, my younger self, in general, and then as far as like as dating, probably give you guys a little bit of background history into me for real. So one of the things I would tell we're gonna go with my kid self. Let's start with my kid self. I honestly did not have the best childhood growing up. I lived back and forth with many family members, so it wasn't really like a true stable situation. So with that being said, one of the things that I think I would tell myself is that, just remind myself that the things that are happening, the things that are going on, are not necessarily my fault. It just isn't. And then as far as like my teenage self, it's just, enjoy being a kid. Enjoy not paying bills, because this adulthood is ghetto, okay? Like, and that's just general. But the things that I would really tell like my younger 20-year-old self, early 20s, is that I don't have everything figured out. I don't have everything figured out. I mean, I won't have everything figured out anytime soon. So it's just take, oh, I just squirted it all over my face. Just take the time to enjoy the now. When I was in college, I spent a lot of time working because I didn't have the support system that a lot of my other classmates and a lot of my other friends had. When I was in college, I literally had to depend solely on my financial aid and tuition. Well, financial aid, and we got like refund checks or whatever for like the grants and stuff that we didn't do. So I had to solely depend on my own financial self. Like, I had to work. I wasn't able to do a real internship or take real time to, like, I didn't do any like sororities or anything like that. I didn't really party, didn't go out, from a mix of I didn't have the time, and I just didn't want to really. I had like, anxiety about as far as just I just had general anxiety. Like I don't like large groups of people. That makes me uncomfortable. So going out is not one of my things, and it's never really been a real thing for me. Put a little bit more on my cheeks. I do this every single time I wear this foundation. But yeah, so just taking more time to, enjoy being in college. I understand that, I was an adult and I had to like figure things out by myself. But I really wish I would have took the time to be a regular college student, go out and hang out with my friends and just enjoy that aspect, because I did spend a lot of the time in the house. If I wasn't at the house, I was at work. I don't know, and also I didn't have a car until my senior year of college, because I had to buy my own car. So I worked on campus for a majority of the time, at low paying campus jobs. So I worked all of the time. When I say all of the time, I literally mean all of the time, because I wasn't making a lot of money at the job I was working at, so I had to work, or I would have to like hitch rides with friends. I remember times when I would have to walk from my apartment, which was a decent little walk, to class in the rain, because I didn't have a car, I didn't have a way. My school wasn't one of those schools that had like buses that you could just take. So I just walked my little rain boots, and I walked through our little path. For those who know, I went to USC Upstate. USC Upstate is in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It is a very small, rural little town in South Carolina, in upstate of South Carolina. So I was very, very far away from my family. I was very far away from my friends that I grew up with and went to high school with. So like I was up there practically alone, especially my first year. And so I started like, getting friends. So yeah, it was I don't think I ever like really told anyone, but it was a really, really hard time for me in college. It was not I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed college, don't get me wrong, but I could have enjoyed it more if I would have stayed closer to campus. If I would have just, stayed in different apartments on campus. So that's one thing I would definitely tell myself. I did apply to a whole bunch of colleges, but my main goal was to leave from where I was staying at and where I went to high school at, because my freshman year, well, not my freshman year, I want to say it was my sophomore year, I got kicked out of my house when I was living with my mom. So I was practically homeless, and I went to go stay with my uncle for a little while, but things happened there. He and I ended up being homeless again. So I had to stay with my godparents. Thank God to my godparents, Madeline and Ron, growing up, getting through high school. And I was it's just a lot of overwhelming things. And like I said, I would just tell myself that, it's not my fault. These things that are happening to me is literally not my fault. And to just be real patient with myself, because I feel like that from a teenager, I had to be an adult at a very, very young age. I had to make decisions for myself that I shouldn't have had to make at the age that I was. So it was just a really hard time for me, and just reminding myself that it's not my fault. But I don't regret going through those things, because if I would have never went through those things, I would have never been the person that I am currently. And I mean, I think I turned out to be a pretty decent person. Do I have trauma? Yes. Do I feel like I can't depend on other people? Yes. However, it's character building. So I just feel like that there's a lot of things that happened when I was growing up that made it really kind of difficult for me, and continued to make things difficult throughout my life and throughout my college life. Because like I said, I had no one to depend on, so I had to depend on myself, which led to me not being as active in college. And I remember it was this one class in college that my professor told me if I told me I needed to stop working so much so I can focus on class. And I looked at her dead in her eyes and I told her that if I didn't go to work after class, or if I didn't have to go to work, if I didn't work, then I wouldn't be able to survive. I would not be able to eat. I would not be able to come to class. I would not be able to do anything. And I think that semester I didn't even have a car, so I was walking back and forth to class at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. in the morning. Well, that's the time I had to be to class. So that means I would leave my house to have to walk to class at like 7:30 to make sure I get to campus and be able to get across campus and get to my class on time. I did not ask anyone for help. I did not ask any of my friends for assistance. I just did it. So one of the things that I would tell my younger self is that it is okay to ask for help. And it's okay to ask for assistance. And I was never really like envious of my friends of the things that they had or the support they had. It's just I wish that they were I just wish they were a little bit more understanding that the things I had to do were things that I had to do. It wasn't things that was like a real choice for me. Once again, like I said, over time, I feel like it really became like a character building thing, but it also created the idea that I can't depend on anyone. Like, I am the only person that can meet my own needs. And to this day, I have problems with that. But one of the things I did do when I was in, I guess when I was in that state or was in the situations that I was in, I did attend counseling for the first time. Our school offered counseling, so I attended counseling. I think I went it was short counseling. I think it was only probably like 6 weeks or something like that, 6 or 8 weeks. But, it was free. But once again, I was working and I didn't have the time to dedicate to going to counseling. I didn't have the time to dedicate for my own wellness, which in hindsight, that probably was not a great idea, but it did help. The sessions that I was able to go to, I did benefit from them. So that is something good to say. I just feel like that if I just had more actual faith, but just faith in the faith in the idea that everything will work out. But I also knew that I couldn't go home. Like, there was no home for me to go to. Like, I went to college solely because if I didn't go to college, I would have been homeless. So it was either go to college and have a dorm to sleep in, have financial aid to help you pay for things, or be homeless. I remember my freshman year, my parents were supposed to help me. Like, when I say parents, I don't mean my godparents. I mean like my mom and my stepdad was supposed to help me pay for. I had like a balance of like $500 for school. I don't really remember what exactly the balance was for, but I had a balance of $500 for school. and I had saved up money that whole summer. I worked at Pizza Hut. I had like 2 jobs in high school. That's another thing I would have told myself, like, you don't need to do all that. But I'm glad I did it, because I had to end up paying for my class. My classes for me to go to school. I had to pay $500. So that means at that point I was like asked out half of the money that I saved for at least my first semester. But I ended up getting a job on campus, which was very helpful. It wasn't really like I said before, it wasn't really like a good paying job, but only bill I had to make sure I kept paid was my cell phone bill. Keep my phone on so that I could still talk to my family. So talk to my brother and stuff like that, because at that time my brother's 10 years younger than me, and I think I was like 19 or something, 18, 19, so he was like 8. So yeah, everything wasn't all, shits and giggles. So looking back, I am proud of myself, but I'm also, I'm gonna say disgusted, but like, I'm also very disappointed in the lack of support system that I had from the people who were supposed to take care of me. So yeah, it was just really, it was a very difficult time. So just telling myself that things will work out and to be patient is one of the most important things. I'm about to use this new Desi spray. I've used it like not with makeup. So we're just gonna do a little spray while I get my powder situation together. I'm using my mix between my Fenty Beauty powder and my Dermablend powder. This is gonna be more Fenty Beauty powder because I am very, very pale right now. But as far as my younger 20s, I will say, something I would tell myself is once again, you don't all have to have it figured out. Everything that I was doing at that time really played out in a way where it fixed itself. It fixes it. When I say fix itself, I mean like it literally worked out in the best. Like everything came together the way it was supposed to come together. Because I remember my senior year, I was just like, oh, I want to move to Atlanta. I want to go to Georgia State. And I went to go to school, but it didn't happen that way right away. So I graduated college in 2016. So I think it was like 22, 23, something like that, when I graduated college. So I was still in my very early 20s when I graduated. So I just feel like it was such a pressure to decide, like, am I going to go to, when I'm going to go to graduate school, what I'm going to do. I actually stayed in our college apartments because we had like dorms, obviously, like any other college, and we had off-campus apartments. But I ended up staying in my off-campus apartment. I moved to a different apartment. I moved to like a 2-bedroom apartment. And I ended up staying there for, I want to say 2 years. I think I didn't move out until 2016. So I stayed. I just remember why my under eyes were so sticky because I didn't put no powder on up under there. I'm sitting here wondering what's going on. So I'm going to put this, hopefully I didn't mess it up too bad, but I'm going to put a little bit of this one size setting powder up under my eyes. Because technically the powder that I'm putting on my face is setting powder, but I just want to make sure that my eyes, my concealer is concealed properly. Wondering why that was not working out for me. But yeah, so I stayed in my college apartment complex. I won't really say the actual apartment, but the complex itself after I graduated for 2 years because it was just the most affordable. So like one of the things I could tell to my younger self is that it's okay to still live there. It's okay, like, you know, even though people may have moved out and moved to different apartments and stuff like that, but for you, that's what works. I was still able to, you know, budget my money correctly because once again, I was not having anyone help me, so I was the one funding all of my needs. Because I had recently got a car payment because I bought a cash car my senior year, and that thing, it was going to craps. I mean, it was a cash car. It was just supposed to get me from here to there, and it enabled me to have a leverage when I got an actual car. So yeah, so I stayed in my college apartments, and I stayed in my college apartments because I could afford it. It was the most affordable thing at that time in the area for my budget. So that's what I did, honey. I had my roommate, Kaylee. I love Kaylee to death, but Kaylee was she went to upstate with me, but then she ended up transferring to tech to do, I don't exactly remember what she was doing. I think it was something surgery technician or something like that. But yeah, so me and Kaylee lived together for 2 years in that apartment. I really didn't have any issues living with Kaylee. So no big problem, but in 2018 I decided to get my own place. So boom. So by that time let me really do some math real quick because I just turned 29. So 27 or 28 I was here, 27 I was out there. Yeah, 27 I was in Spartanburg. I was in my own apartment. 26, so 27 was 2019, and I was in my apartment. 2018, 26, this is when I moved into my apartment when I was 26. Yeah, I moved into my apartment when I was 26. My birthday's in December, and I moved at the end of the summer. So 26, and then so 2026, so it's 2018, so 2017 and 2016 is when I stayed with Kaylee. So 2018, I moved into my own apartment. I was making, you know, decent money for a single person, especially at that time. Living in Spartanburg it's not expensive. It's a really small city, like I said before. So it wasn't nothing crazy. Prices were normal. I think I paid like $900 a month for my first apartment, and then I think it went up to like $910 or something like that. So nothing major living out there. But during that time was when I got in a relationship. And in this relationship, this is one of the things I would tell myself is just that just because they pressuring you, applying pressure, quote unquote, I'm not trying to be with you, you don't need to be with them. You don't need to be with them because that just probably was not the best idea. Being with somebody and then on top of being with them, taking them back, because I think we broke up in like November, and I told this story in my I'm gonna link it in the video because there's no reason for me to go back through this, but yeah, so I told this story as far as with my ex and my ex cheating on me, and then us getting back together and then basically cheating on me again. Yeah, so yeah, I wouldn't do that. I don't date. If you cheated, or if you told me you was a cheater, a serial cheater, I'm not gonna date you. I'm not dating you. Because no. I don't think cheating is part of relationships. Like, I don't think cheating is something that just happens in relationships. Not in my book. Maybe in somebody else's book. Yeah, no. And I kind of feel like in that relationship, I was kind of, I won't say like forced into the relationship, but it just wasn't on my foremind. Like, it's something that just kind of happened instead of like creating boundaries and making that decision that you guys want to be with each other, instead of just being around someone and being with someone for so long that y'all now together. So that's not something that I would personally recommend. Yeah, I wouldn't. Don't do that. So only be in a relationship when you are ready and when you're comfortable in being in a relationship, not because that other person wants to be with you. It just won't work out in the best if you're not completely happy. And I was in that relationship for, I want to say, a little over a year, maybe, because it started in 2017. The summer 2017, and we broke up Thanksgiving of 2018. So yeah, don't be in something that you're not together. And we were together that whole time, and I don't think I've ever told that man I loved him. And I don't even think that I never felt those feelings to be like, I love you. So yeah, so don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be somewhere where you don't want to be, where you don't feel like you need to be. But then after that, I ended up moving. Well, in 2019, my mom ended up passing away, and I want to say that was literally the hardest time that I've ever had. My mom passed away December 6, 2019. And it was that leading up to that day, the day itself wasn't really that hard. It wasn't until 2020 where things got really hard for me. So last year was one of the hardest years of my life, and I could say that now with like pure confidence. I should have reached out for help when I needed it, but I didn't. I didn't reach out for help, and I do not recommend that. I struggled emotionally and mentally the whole year. When I say the whole year, I mean from the very beginning of it until the end of it. Many reasons, because I had just moved here from a different state. I did not know anybody, and then as soon as I moved here, I had to quarantine. So I should have been in counseling. I should have been in therapy. I should have been in grieving counseling. I should have done a lot of things that I did not do. So if you ever need help, please do not feel afraid to ask for it, okay? Please don't feel afraid or feel like that you'll be judged or you'll be ridiculed for needing help, because you can't be strong all the time. No reason for you to feel like you have to be strong all of the time. You hear me? Like, you don't have to wear the cape. You don't have to, be the person that people call on all the time. You need your time to heal. You need your time to rejoice, to get back to your natural self, because I'm telling you, like, that was the hardest time. Like, I remember crying. I remember one month I woke up the entire month, and I just cried. I woke up, as soon as I woke up, I would cry. I would just cry my eyes out, and I would just get up, take a shower, and then start my day. I lost so much weight. People were like complimenting me, like, oh my gosh, you look so great. But in reality, I was not great. I was truly dying inside. So just make sure that when you do need help, you're reaching out to people. And I can say that I did reach out to people, but people were kind of just like, I remember saying something to my sister once, and she just kind of like blew it off a little bit, and I was just kind of like, I don't think that's not cool. And then in the beginning of 2021, I was still a little bad, but I started getting a little bit better because, like I said before, my mom's death anniversary is in December, so I had a really hard December, a really, really difficult December, but I decided that I didn't want to be like that no more. I did not want to be that sad. I never wanted to be that sad, because I remember on my mom's death anniversary that I was literally bawling in tears. Like, I was uncontrollably, like, I was no help to myself or others, so I didn't even call my brother. And from that experience, I learned that I have to take care of myself. I have to stop my toxic behaviors. I do remember that in January, I looked at my bank statement, and I blew through clearly $4,000 just buying stuff to hope that I feel better. And it didn't work, because I was still sad. So too bad. So I taught myself how to, not really taught myself, I rewired my brain to be able to do better coping mechanisms, like take time when I need it, take the time to relax, take the time to just be to myself when I need it, not spend money, regulate how much I'm eating out, regulate the amount of money that's going out, trying to get more money coming in. So, because it didn't matter how much money I made. I made a lot of money that year, but it didn't matter if I didn't know how to spend it, and I was spending it every single time that I was sad, every single time, just for me to buy something, be sad and depressed, and then buy something again. And I'm not talking about little things. I'm talking about spending money, okay? This is the Morphe Illuminated Setting Spray. I can't say that I'm a true fan of it right now. But yeah, so telling myself and learning that those coping mechanisms were toxic. And then as far as dating, things that I tell myself, especially because I didn't, God honest truth, I didn't start dating intentionally, until I moved to Atlanta, that was a terrible idea, because I spent a lot of my time when I first, in college, and I had boyfriends in college, but I didn't really, besides my actual boyfriends, I didn't date anybody. I think I had two boyfriends in college. So I didn't really date in college like that. I kind of stayed to myself, and like I said, I spent all my time working. If I wasn't working, I was asleep. If I wasn't asleep, I was in class. So yeah. So I didn't start dating until probably probably this year. I think last year I wasn't really dating because, honey, I was a mess, honey. I couldn't even date myself. I couldn't even make myself happy. So I didn't really start dating until 2021, like dating intentionally. And that'll be a whole different video about how does it feel, the stigma behind dating in my 20s, in my late 20s, I mean, not just my 20s. But yeah, we're going to talk about that. That's going to be something that I want to take a deep dive into. Probably going to be my next video. But I'm about to finish this mascara and then we'll be back to close out the video. So I'm back. I just had to brush out my hair. I'm going to go ahead and use, there's not really a whole lot in this. So we're just going to do a little bit of this. Just to kind of make my face, I don't know. I feel like I'm always going to use this at the end. I don't know what it is. I need to get me a bigger bottle. I got this from Target. You know, Target. Some of the Targets have these Ulta in it. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do my lips. I am using Bite Me from Morphe lip liner. So yes, the last thing I kind of want to leave you guys off with when talking about things that are to my younger self, or just being knowledgeable about my younger self, is that just because I was raised off survival does not mean that I cannot learn how to live off of love. Because growing up, it was really just, you know, I was really just taking care of myself. Even when I was living with my godparents, I was still very, very self-sufficient. Like I already had a job. I've been working at that job for, I think, about a year. At that point, because I got that job when I turned 17. I was 17 or was I 16? I think I was 16 turning 17, so I already had a job. When I was staying with them, I ended up getting another job at Zaxby's because that's where my godfather, he worked at Zaxby's. He was a general manager at Zaxby's, but he worked at a different location than I did. So yeah, the only thing they helped me with really was I had a place to lay my head. I remember me and my god sister was sharing a bed when I first moved there. And then my godmom, I got a new car. So I was driving her car until I went to college, really. Well, not until I went to college, because that summer I left and I went to New Orleans to go stay with my cousin. And then I came back to go to college. And they sent me off to college, and that was it. So, like I said, it is okay. It's okay to have to learn how to live a survival. Growing up, learning how to survive. But it is also okay to know it's okay to be loved. It's okay to be sensitive. So you don't have to be, I don't want to say, you don't have to be strong, but strong isn't a word that I really like to use, especially for Black women, because that's a different story, really. That's a tale for another time. But I do want to tell you guys that this is okay. You know, I know that things may not be going great right now, especially when a painting ran me. Because when I was, you know, my 20s, early 20s, because I feel old when I say that. But when I was younger, in my early 20s, late teens, you know, early adulthood. Let's go with that. Early adulthood, early adulthood. I didn't have to deal with the pain around me. I didn't have to deal with type of stuff like this. But I couldn't imagine dealing with all the things that I dealt with when I was younger and then turning around to deal with unstable work, unstable health, because I didn't have health insurance when I was younger. I didn't have nobody's health insurance because it was just me. Where was I going to afford health insurance? So yeah, so I couldn't imagine the things that people are going through now. I'm thankful to have a job where I do have health insurance, and I'm also thankful to be able to do YouTube and do what I enjoy. So things will work out. Okay, things will work themselves out. I am teaching myself to walk more on faith than on sight, so I'm going to tell you guys to do the same thing as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoy this type of content. Once again, happy 2022. Hopefully it won't be as bad as last year, because season 2 of the pandemic it's getting real ugly out here. So be safe, wear your mask, get vaccinated, get boosted, whatever you need to do, and I will talk to you guys next time.